So I wanted to talk about standardized work and hopefully clarify a few things for you, because the most difficult thing when creating standardized work is getting started, because there's a lot of different documents out there, and I want to give you some clarification on what to use and how to get started. So common documents are a checklist, which will be essentially a sheet of paper or on a tablet of what needs to get done, or you could use it to verify that the work actually got done. Then there's standardized work, which is not so much the what to do, but it's also the how to do it. How should the process be done so that it's done safely, correctly, and on time? And the third one is the job breakdown sheet. And that gets confused a lot with standard work or standardized work, but really a job breakdown sheet is not for the person learning, it's actually for the trainer. So I wanted to clarify that, and I'm going to show you some examples. But the most important thing to getting started with which document to use is you have to ask two questions, and then you have to get the answers to those. Who is the end user? Who's going to be using this document or this visual reference, and why are we doing it? Maybe start with that one. Why? What is the point of this? Are we just doing it because ISO 9001 says we need to do it? Is it just a check the box thing? Or are we trying to use it as a training job aid? Are we trying to use it to enhance our trainer skills? So you need to find out why, because they'll take you on different paths and you'll need different documentations. But standardized work and creating standards is the baseline for improvement. You can't improve unless you have standards. So it's extremely important that you get this right, that you have standards. So here's a startup example. So this would be a checklist on maybe starting up a process before you really start producing. So again, a checklist is what needs to get done. And here's an example of how to make it visual. So that way it's not just a list of words that people are still going to have to figure out where things are located. So a checklist should be visible, visual, and accessible to the people using it. Okay, the next one we'll look at, this is standard work, and this is kind of a newer format. The things with standard work, the key components, and this isn't the traditional standard work, this is more of a new hybrid, but it's very visual. You'll notice it's how to do the process, so it's in steps, but it's a step-by-step process. So step one, and then sometimes we'll put key points in there, but also we want to put the time that it takes to do each one of these steps. It's not to make people work faster, it's to see how many people we need. It helps us calculate how much labor we need to do a process. Okay, so that's standard work. A job breakdown sheet, it is not visual. It can be, there's nothing against it, but this is just a cheat sheet for the trainer. So if I'm training a new employee, I'll probably grab the standard work so that they could look at it as I'm explaining the process during the first time before I let them get hands-on and try it. And then I'll have my cheat sheet, my job breakdown sheet, and it'll really help me clarify what the key points of the process are, and then also the reasons for those key points, the reasons why. That step gets left out a lot. So I like to put it even in the standard work, which is this down here, the reasons why. Okay, so we have our standard work, we have our job breakdown sheet, and then just to kind of give a brief summary on it, what we have is our checklist, which is our procedure of what to do. And that's usually for a knowledgeable employee, someone who kind of knows how to do the process or just verifying it gets done. It could be for a new person too. Right? It's a communication tool of what to do. You'll see it in different forms, startup, maybe a shutdown to do an audit. That's how checklists are used. What to do, verification that it's done. Those are pretty much the reasons of its existence. Now, standardized work is how to do a process. You could use it for employees to learn, but once the standardized work, once the people learn the process, then they're not going to look at it anymore. So I like to use it as an auditing tool and also a test to see if someone can do the job, a new employee. So once they graduate out of being trained, I'm going to use the standardized worksheet as an auditing tool too. I don't need to create a written test. Standardized work is your written test. It's already there. Can the person follow the standardized work? that can, then we know they can do the job safely, to the right quality, and in the right amount of time. All right, so standardized work. It's used to even manage staff, to make improvements. You may see a few components of standard work, like we talked about, a map. But really, we want to capture the major steps, the cycle time, and then a picture demonstrating the how. All right, and then the job instruction, which is the job breakdown sheet, is for the trainer, and it's to help them train effectively. And they might have a job instruction card along with their job breakdown structure, just to give them a training cadence, to make sure that they're hands-on and they're showing and they're coaching the person as they're learning. And that has major steps, key points, reasons why. That doesn't have the pictures. Their major steps, they're more zoomed out. Then standardized work is more zoomed in. So standardized work on those major steps, it's turn a lever clockwise with their left hand over the right hand. Very specific, very granular. Now, job breakdown structure might just say open the door, and then it'll have all the details. So it's a lot of text. It's a lot for the instructor to help teach someone. So hopefully this helps clarify to get started. Remember, why are we doing this document? Why are we creating standard work? And who's going to be using it? And then make sure to utilize the people actually doing the work. They're the experts.